Please note. So Sanshitu came with his learned friends, Don Akayibo, Emmanuel Okefo, Monisola Odumosu, Oluyemi Sanusi, and John Ikeruki. So they came to represent Mohbad's family. So there is Kabi Akinbola and MKO Orire representing Wunmi Aloba and Liam Aloba. There is Olarunke Adeoti and Oluwasomi. Okay, Olarunke Adeoti came to represent Mohbad's lawyer, Oluwasomi Falade. So Mohbad's lawyer was in court today. Then there is Adams Agata, who came to represent Iya Mohbad. Akipelu Ogundano with his learned colleague came to represent Prime Boy. There is K. Nowola and Abiodun Kolawole came to represent African Women's Association of Women. Sorry, Association of Women Lawyers. African Association of Women Lawyers. There is Sisi Unwachuku with his learned colleague came to represent Darusha. There is OSA and Romolaro and his learned colleagues CI Elekwasi and EE Ngwobo came to represent Nigerian Bar Association. Then there's ON Nwobi and his learned friends who came to represent Abdulatif, aka Naira Mali, Abdulatif Fashola, aka Naira Mali, and Eletu Samuel, aka Sam Larry. Then there is Ken Nowola came to represent the nurse. So the nurse was not in court, but she was ably represented. Naira Mali and Sam Larry was not in court. They were not in court, but they came to represent. They were represented. That means that they did not ignore. What's it called? The summon. Then who else was in court? The lawyer, Mohbad's lawyer, Falade, is in court. Then Wunmi Aloba came to court as one of the these are the respondents now, the witnesses. Wunmi Aloba, Oluwasomi Falade, the nurse, Naira Mali. Prime Boy was also in court. Those are the people I can recognize so far. Nigerian Bar Association and the rest. So please note that means that on this inquest, there are enough representation from all angles. You see, it was San Wahab who opened the floor, and he told the court that he received a stay of execution, and the magistrate asked if any other lawyers also received that stay of execution, because the court said that she did not receive as at the time she was asking, and none of the lawyers received either. It was only sent to Sanshitu on WhatsApp. The magistrate wanted to take she was ready to take as many witnesses as possible today. So she insisted, because he said it took her, in her words, she said it took her a lot to get the pathologist to attend today's inquest. So she was willing to make sure that the testimony of the pathologist was taken. Before I proceed, this is what I think they were trying to do. They knew that there was no way they could have pushed not taking the pathologist, not making the pathologist come to inquest today, because they know it's going to raise an uproar. And they know that Sanshitu, his presence in the court today, will be, it would drill the pathologist. So they wanted him to stay off the court, my opinion. So that, because he was the only one who received that stay, Nobody else received, not even the coroner magistrate. She did not receive. So Adebin Sanshitu decided to stay away because of that motion from a higher court. They would have taken the cross-examination of the pathologist without Sanshitu. Maybe in another 4-5 sitting, we are still trying to get the pathologist to come again. But luckily, Sanshitu said, "My lord, I will receive the statement." The magistrate said, "I did not receive it. So I'm going to act now and take as many testimonies of witnesses as possible so that this court can move faster." She reiterated again, the whole world is watching from here. And she's conscious of that fact. I'm very sure that she also, she's aware that international bodies, she doesn't know who is who sitting in the court. And our submissions, the way she handles the matter might be studied. So she's always consciously telling people that the international, this Mohbad matter has become an international sensation that everyone is interested, and she's always calling the attention of anybody who wants to drag the case here and there. And so she decided to proceed. So it started with the cross-examination of the pathologist. Sanshitu asked how long has he been practicing as a pathologist and a toxicologist. So he stated that he is not a toxicologist, he is a pathologist. But the toxicology, the report, the autopsy report was signed by him. The autopsy report, or the reports that was submitted to the court, contains the autopsy, the pathology, and the toxicology report. But he signed the entire document. So Sanshitu asked him how long he's been practicing. He said he's been practicing since 2010. That makes him 14 years as a pathologist. So we can say to a degree that we assume we're talking to an expert in the field who knows what he's doing. So Sanshitu started referring him to the content of his report, starting with page 2, where it was stated that Mohbad sustained injury at the back of the hand and sudden convulsion. I'm still waiting to read the autopsy. I've not read it, but I think, with the way it was cross-examined, I can get a lot of facts from that report. On page 2 of the toxicology report, or the autopsy report, or whatever, the report, let me call it report for flow of this conversation. The report, on the page 2 of the report, it was stated that Mohbad had an injury to the back of his hand and sudden convulsion. He confirmed yes. Then Sanshitu started with the histology. The histology report is an overview, a report of his internal organs. It started with the heart. According to the report, their inference after checking Mohbad's heart, they said they noticed moderate to severe autolysis. And Sanshitu asked him, if somebody had moderate to severe autolysis, can it cause death? He said yes. Please note his answers. Then they moved to his lungs. According to the report, they said the lungs also was diagnosed or was examined, and the report is moderate to severe autolysis. Then they asked him again, if somebody had this kind of report, can it kill? He said yes. They moved to his spleen. The remark, according to the report, is that it's moderate to severe autolysis. Can it cause the death of Mohbad? He also said yes. Now back to his adrenal glands. Trashito explained the function of what the spleen does to the body, and all these internal organs, the heart. We all know what the heart does. The lungs. When they say your lungs, add moderate to severe autolysis, can it kill? He said yes. Then to his adrenal glands, the same moderate to severe autolysis. He said yes. They moved to his pancreas. The report is that it's moderate to severe autolysis. He said yes. Can it kill? Yes. They moved to the kidney. The report says it contains moderate to severe autolysis. Then someone asked the pathologist again, with this report, could it be the cause of death of somebody? He said yes. They now move to page 8. They ask the pathologist, apart from the superficial injuries to the hand, was there any other? Can the injury kill? He said no. Someone said, I'm not asking if he said the wound on Mohbad. His answer is the wound on Mohbad's hand is a minor injury and it cannot kill. He said no. What he's asking, if there is an injury, a puncture to the body, can it kill? He said yes. Then they now ask him that he said that after Mohbad was exhumed, that there was no blood. So all the tests he carried out, where did he get the blood from? Because he kept reiterating, he corrected a general assumed that what was found on Mohbad's casket was not blood. That because there was no blood in Mohbad's body. That was what he was trying to say in summary. But if you are going to conduct a test, you will need blood. Did he use blood? He said yes. So where did he get the blood from? He said he opened the blood vessel and he picked out blood. You see, the pathologist was crossed between telling us there was no blood, yet they conducted tests. So what did you use for the test? So I would say he wasn't speaking the truth. It was torn between there was no blood. He kept saying there was no blood, but yet they needed blood to have carried out some of the samples, some of the tests. So he said he opened up the blood vessel and he picked sample of blood. So by my own opinion, whatever it is, no blood in Mohbad's body, but his blood vessel was open and they collected blood. It is safe to say there is blood. So now part of the report, the first is the histology, the second is the toxicology. The toxicology report, it was referred to the publication in the Punch newspaper. They asked him, did you read this report? Are you aware of it? He said yes, he's aware. Then the claim in the toxicology, according to NMS lab, that is the lab in Pennsylvania in the US, where they said they took the report for toxicology test. They asked him if he was aware that the lab had denied that there was no toxicology report for Ilerioluwa Aloba. He said yes, that he read the report. They now asked him what his take was or is on the statement. He said in his exact words that they read the report. Actually, the Mohbad sample was taken to the lab, but Mohbad's name was not used on the sample. When people now started grumbling, that died with him, and that the people who requested did not have authorization, and that is why NMS lab said that the samples were not there. He was trying to find a plausible deniability for the report. So Francis now put it to him that he should look at the toxicology report in his hand. there was a stamp. There were supposed to be 2 stamps there. A stamp of the DNA lab who conducted the histology here in Lagos, and a stamp of the NMS lab who conducted the toxicology. But the stamp of NMS is missing on the reports. And he said the fact that there is no stamp does not invalidate the reports. That sometimes they may not put stamp. Barrister Shitu was trying to tell him that he should go and read the rebuttal on the what's it called, in the Punch newspaper, where the NMS lab denied having knowledge of a toxicology that was done by NMS lab. That you should look, and that letter, that their claim or their report on it was stamped. That why is it that a whole lab in the US will conduct a toxicology, because he attached it to the report, conducted a toxicology and was not stamped. He couldn't validate it, but he said it doesn't invalidate the report, so they moved on. Now they moved to the drugs that was found in Mohbad's system. But before they moved on to the drugs, you see, the toxicology report had a recommendation, and the recommendation is that the test that has been conducted should be subjected to a more advanced test. It was boldly written in the toxicology report. It was written that further tests should be carried out. Sanshitu now has a pathologist. Was this test carried out? He said no, that the test was not done. That he was saying, I'm not the pathologist. I'm not the toxicologist. But the overall report was signed by you. This is what I thought played out when they brought Mohbad's body for autopsy, toxicology, and pathology. I think it's a responsibility, because Abiodun Kolawole, while he was examining the pathologist, they asked for standard operation procedure. When you want to conduct all these tests, what do you do? When he was talking, he was the one who collects samples from the body, and he will use his own to conduct his pathology test. He will send report for toxicology because he's not a toxicologist, to another facility. But his own is to conduct the autopsy and the pathology. So when you send a report out, they will examine the sample you have sent to them, and the sample was his gastric content. That was the content in his stomach at the time of death, urine, blood sample, and some tissue. They will send it out to toxicology. So toxicology will examine that report and send it back to the pathology and say, oh, this is what we have seen and this is what we are recommending that you do. Then you can create a report. Then they moved to the injection that was found in Mohbad's body. They said there was paracetamol, there was pyridine, and there was antitetanus. Then they said, I'm not sure which one is the antihistamine who has effect of drowsiness. Okay, I think it's the pyridine, the ceftriaxone, has effect of drowsiness in the body. He said yes. Then they said if it was given, listen, everybody. So Wahab said if it was given in an overdose, can it cause death? He said yes. I stomach that. If it was given in overdose, can it cause death? He said yes. Then at this point, the interesting part of the inquest started. Barrister Shitu put it to the pathologist that when the toxicology report came back for further test, did you carry it out? He said no. And you came with a report. He said yes. Then they now ask him, so why did you conclude that the cause of death for Mohbad is inconclusive? Because in the first place, the report you have given is an inconclusive report. So on that premise, you are going to give an inconclusive report. He said, actually, the reason why the test, because one thing about the court, when you are under cross-examination, when they ask you a question, you answer yes or no. If it is yes, you will explain. If it is no, you will explain. But you first of all answer if it is a yes or a no. So every question it was asked was first a yes or a no. So we already know our answer. So it will now explain what is yes means or what is no means. They now put it to him that, okay, so he said that he did not conduct the test. If you didn't conduct the test, how did you conclude that the cause of death for Mohbad is inconclusive? He said based on the report given to him or the report before him, the cause of death is inconclusive. They now asked him to explain further. He said the tests. Then Barrister Shitu told him of some modern techniques that are available. In fact, he has done his own work. He was giving those terminologies, do you understand, further tests that could have been carried out to reveal all those gray areas. He said those kind of tests are not available in Nigeria. In fact, the tests are not even available in Africa. They put it to him. So does it mean that if we need to ascertain the cause of death and we really want to know, since your report that is work in progress is still inconclusive, is it safe that we carry Mohbad out of this country to a place where we can find the modern technology or technique, that can reveal the cause of death, since yours is unknown, is inconclusive? He said yes. It's either we carry Mohbad out or we bring the expert from abroad. Do you understand? So Barrister Shitu said he's also putting it to him again that his report is inconclusive. And as a professional, when they have given you further recommendation and you have not carried it out, you are supposed to admit as a professional that my job was done based on the available facility that I have, but that is not the best that is available to give me a conclusive cause of death. He was dribbling around it, but I like the fact that Barrister Shitu insisted, you understand, and make him answer those questions. At the end of the day, he admitted that further tests could have been carried out to ascertain the cause of death. So he agreed at the end of the day that his report is inconclusive. It's still work in progress. And he put it to him that he had come to the court to lie to the court, to deceive the court. Because you have come before a coroner and you have come with an inconclusive report. If you come to coroner with an inconclusive report, is it with the intention to deceive the world? You're trying to deceive us. Your report is incomplete. Why did you not say that the death is inconclusive? At the end of the day, they now started asking him more questions. One of the questions was, they told him that NMS has 3 facilities in the USA. Which one of them did they take Mohbad sample to? He said he does not know. They asked him, which, NMS lab has 3 facilities. Know. Yeah. He said he does not know. That was what he said. Then on page 9 of the reports, they also reported that Mohbad had a fatal reaction to drugs. Initially, there were 3 drugs in his body. Paracetamol, antitetanus, and Septazole, Piritin. So on page 9 of the report, they reported that Mohbad, one of the inferences that was drawn, that he had a fatal reaction to drugs. They asked him that fatal reaction to drugs, could it be a possibility for the cause of death? He said yes. Then they asked him again, why are you saying that the death is inconclusive? You told us that the spleen, the liver, the pancreas, the adrenal glands all had severe to moderate to severe autolysis. Yet you said that the cause of death is unknown. It's inconclusive. So that means that their inferences and their conclusions, they are two parallel lines. You are the one who said he showed severe to moderate to severe autolysis in his heart, in his lungs, in his pancreas, in his spleen, in his adrenal glands, but yet you don't know the cause of death. It's just like a groom going to do wedding. What is the name of your bride? Say, I don't know. No. And you are getting married. So what do you know? So they now said, oh, they asked him, okay, a fatal reaction to drugs. Which of the drugs? They said Piritin. A high dosage of Piritin in the body, could it cause death? He said yes. They asked him if there were other procedures as recommended by the toxicologist. No, they asked him that what other procedure is available in Nigeria that he could have used to support the procedure that was previously done, that came up with this report. He said there could be X-ray, there could be microbiological investigation, and there could be virtual autopsy. They asked him, did you conduct any of this? He said no, he didn't. So that means that there are other procedures that could have been used that was not done. Okay, but Mr. Shitu again reiterated that his report is still work in progress. So it cannot be admissible. It's not admissible. It cannot be admitted in the courts. Then he read out a likely test that could have been done. I didn't get that name of the test, but I could ask one or two people to get the name later, and he said it wasn't done. They asked him if the toxicology report that was forwarded to him, further recommendation that was advised, was it done? He said no. Then they talked about manner of death and cause of death. They asked him if they were the same. He said no. Then manner of death is what exactly? You see, they were trying to let him know the meaning of inconclusive. They said, okay, we are students of English. Do you agree that inconclusive means uncertain? He said yes. Unconfirmed? He said yes. Unknown? He said, nah, I don't think so. But it's synonyms. If something is inconclusive, you can say it's uncertain, it's unconfirmed, or it's unknown. He said, he was trying to play around that. With that fact, Shitu was also able to tell him again that his report said is still work in progress. Because when there was further recommendation, you did not do. When there were further reports, there were further or modern technology or techniques that could have been applied, it did not do. Then you now came out to say that the result is inconclusive. That means that your report is the one that is inconclusive, that could have generated inconclusive death. He tried to play around that. He did not accept. Then there was one of the representations stood up for cross-examination and asked him, there was the autopsy done alone or as a group? He said it was done as a group in the presence of the IPO. Please get this fact. Okay. And one of the family members who happened to be Blessing, who is Mohbad's sister. And they asked that the drugs and substances found did you subject it to further investigation to check if their negative effect could have led to Mohbad's death? He said no. They now ask him, another person asked him that if Mohbad's sample and body is being taken to a to another facility or done by another pathologist and toxicologist, would they get the same report? He said yes, they will get the same inconclusive reports. They asked him again that if it was sent to another toxicologist, would it be another report? He said he doesn't know. He's not a toxicologist and he was not able to say. This is another part that got me afraid of Nigeria. And I will pray at this point to everyone, may Nigeria never happen to you. May Nigeria never happen to you. I'll say it again. May Nigeria never happen to you. Why did I say so? They ask these pathologists, what is the standard operational procedure for conducting an autopsy? He said, once they take their, once they take their sample, how is the sample stored? They are stored in a bottle, put in a Ziploc, and handed over to the IPO. So when they take sample, they will take the sample and hand it over to the investigative police officer. That it is the IPO that will now take this sample to the lab. Let me explain our standard operation procedure for conducting autopsy in Nigeria. The pathologist will remove the sample. They would give the sample in a bottle, in a Ziploc, and hand it over to the IPO. It is the IPO that will now take it to the lab. Here is the question in the minds of the examiner, which later surfaced during the course of the cross-examination. Number one, after drilling the pathologist, how are you sure that the sample that was given was actually transported to the lab? Or the correct sample that was taken was the one that was transported? He said he doesn't know. They now ask him, how long does it take for a toxicology report to be ready? He said 2 to 3 weeks. They now ask him, how long did it take for Mohbad's report to be ready? He said they didn't get it until April. More than 4 months. Or more than 6 months. So 7 months to when he died. He said that, well, why? They're not asking that, does he know why? Since he said that toxicology report takes between 2 to 3 weeks to be ready. So why do you now have the report after several months? He said that, well, when they took the sample, when the IPO took the sample to the lab, it waited there for 4 months. So before the government took that sample for test, it has sit in the lab for 4 months. And I pray again, may Nigeria never happen to you. May Nigeria never happen to anyone. For 4 months, Mohbad's sample was sitting down in the lab before something was done. Can we talk about the what will I call it now? Viability of the sample after 4 months? Can we talk about what the result will be? Something that was taken in 8 days, because they asked the pathologist a question.
Sorry, can I just interject you there? As you are saying that, also pray that may terrible family not be your portion, our portion. Because.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm coming there.
Okay, thank you. So I just want.
I'm coming there.
Please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the input. I'm coming there. You see? Don't forget.